Hi, welcome to our first vlog. We wanted to put a bit more of a face to our business, to Air Marketing Group, and who we are and what we do, and maybe talk about some of the key topics that come up when talking about outsourced sales and lead generation and telemarketing. So, two sales directors, Simon and Simon, have joined me today, and we're going to talk today about some of the preconceived ideas that people have when they talk about outsourced sales businesses, telemarketing, telesales, all that sort of stuff. What's your experience?
I think actually just people probably seen too many movies. We've talked about it a few times, things like Wolf of Wall Street and Boiler Room was one I was watching recently. And people just tend to think that it's still that old-fashioned phone bashing, PPI, maybe bring in vulnerable people. And they've stopped maybe seeing it as a skill or a science as much of what we identify and find as what we need to treat it as here. I mean, Si, you're quite new, as it were, to telemarketing as a direct channel.
I had that preconception as well. I keep saying it.
So what did you think when you walked in here?
Well, I'll backtrack. What I thought it was, a load of battery hens hitting the phones, call after call after call, interrupting people, being told to do one, and with no expertise, no skill set, no idea who they're ringing, probably not much idea on what product they're ringing out of.
So you thought you fit in really well?
Yes, I loved it. So I was so disappointed when I came here. And then when you invited me here, it was immediately something that I was not expecting, and it was organised. It was there was a great organisation within the hierarchy, not just over on the dining floor, but within the management. I never expected every call to be recorded. I never expected a company to take their own responsibility for what was going on within here, if that makes sense, because I thought you'd try and get away with loads of rogue calls and people putting the phone down, oh, delete that one, we'll delete that one, we won't send that one. But actually it's completely transparent to the client, and that's what I think the clients love when they walk in, and that's their preconception, that they are welcome to as much information as data gathering as they want. There's no dark art, there's no ringing the same person back 4 times because they keep telling you to get off their phone. I mean, there is a science behind it, there's a lot of tech behind it, there's a lot of pride behind the calls, that's why we're valuing recording them all ourselves. So that's what hits you, just the organisation of the place.
So is the issue trust? Is it about, you talked about transparency in the relationship with the client, is it related to trust, as in, I'm outsourcing my sales, I'm outsourcing my business's reputation to other people? That must be quite a scary experience, I imagine.
I think there's a big part, particularly where it's an MD or the creator founder of the business who's still leading that charge towards growth, because naturally they maybe have a preconception themselves that everybody should want their product, and it should be really, really simple and easy to sell. And we know from experience it's not. You've still got to go through that learning curve, you've still got to get that understanding, that grasp. You're still going to have to make tweaks and changes to what that market looks like, and what that data process looks like, what that message looks like. So I think that's quite a big challenge, and naturally within that becomes that piece where it's their baby. You know, they've probably spent decades or at least years, you know, late nights, working weekends, similar to yourself as an MD of a business, trying to get this process, trying to get this right, and you're almost effectively, it's like letting your kids go to uni, isn't it? You're letting go of the reins, you're letting go of that control, and you're letting somebody else represent what you've taken an extensive period of your life to create. So I think of course it's trust, of course there's an element of trust in there. But it's down to that age-old preconception that sales is dodgy, but telesales is particularly dodgy.
Really dodgy.
Really dodgy.
So why do we, therefore, as an industry, because surely we have a responsibility to get people to understand what it can be like. So why as an industry are we not pushing that forward? So I think I'd like to think we're reasonably forward-thinking with that. You said transparency, lots of information, lots of data, try and get that kind of partnership mentality. But why is that not the norm? Because is there an attitude of people having to hide things, or wanting to not be honest about the way that the reality of sales? It is tough, it is hard, there are lots of no's. Don't we just accept that and do the best we can?
I can't actually blame people for having the preconceptions that they do, I really can't, because if you've had experiences of being called late at night, where your mum's been put under pressure, or PPI, and have you had a car crash and all this sort of thing. Worse so now when you get the telephone calls that come through and they're automated, and it's a pretend person. So that is telesales, and that's what the preconception of everyone has. So when we're trying to say you've just got £8 million investment in your SaaS product and you've done all this branding and you're right at the point of really taking it off, would you trust someone like that? No, you have to be made aware that there is another part of the industry. It almost needs a different name, which is what we've been trying to invent.
Because we're all exposed to consumer
sales,
because we're all sold to. So whether you're a business owner or not, you've had that experience, and you then carry that into your perceived idea of what it is in a B2B environment as well, right?
So if they've had that experience, we can't ignore the fact that our clients have had that experience, because they have. We have to there's a huge amount of education, isn't there? And we say the biggest market is the one we haven't got, because they don't even consider using us because of that. So that then backtracks into our educating, which I guess is what we're doing today, and what we'd like to continue doing with these sorts of things. I mean, we don't look that scary, do we? And we hopefully don't look like that image, I don't know. But if we can educate people that there is a market out there. Personally, I don't like the name telesales, because it immediately projects that image into clients'
I agree.
process.
It's finding that divide, you touched on it briefly there, that age-old being a consumer and having that PPI call, that funeral plan call, that life insurance call. And I think coming from traditionally and originally a B2C financial service, funnily enough, based telesales background, and then transitioning that career into a professional B2B business development role, not just here, but in previous roles as well. You really see the art that's behind it. I think
it's not just a numbers game.
It's not. B2C,
and it is a consumer a lot of the time, right?
It is a consumer.
They either answer the phone or they don't.
They don't. And there's a bit of luck, and there is that age-old piece of the pushy salesperson and people just saying yes to get them off the phone. Now, with all due respect to that consumer market, there's an element when it's a B2B sales process. You're talking to a highly educated, highly intelligent, highly knowledgeable prospect who's got different options, and with the power of the internet now can go and find a dozen more within a touch of a finger. And it's about having real value that you can bring to that conversation and intelligently targeting who you target and why you're targeting them. And I think people still fail to maybe separate that B2C numbers game mentality to that B2B professional art mentality.
Isn't it the hardest thing to do, to pick up the phone? I mean, you can have the greatest idea and the biggest brand, but just picking up the phone. And someone said to me yesterday, well, how do I know if it works? Well, you know your product works because it's taking off. You know your brand is great. You just need to multiply that, surely. And we are just an extension of your sales team, like we say, don't we? We're a plug-in sales team. Then instead of having 2 or 3 people talking about it, why don't you want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 highly trained, focused people? And I said, there's no talking around down on the floor, is there? There's no messing around. It's all focused. And if the best time to ring is between 11 and 12 in the day, that's when we put 5, 6 people on there. So you've got a highly. I didn't realise you did that. I just thought if I hired one person, they'd still be sitting there throughout the course of the day. So that again is education.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we need to take responsibility for that as an industry. And you talked about transparency. Be more transparent with how things work and why they work. Because I think that even if people get sales, the amount of, even if it's not, telesales is awful, the amount of ideas around what it works like versus what it actually works like. I don't feel like we're taking people on a journey as an industry at all. And you're right, that old-fashioned Wolf of Wall Street thing is the perception.
You just get up the phone and start dialing.
And what other industries do we use and trust to use where we expect them to do the wrong thing or to want to do the wrong thing? I mean, why would we as an organisation or anybody in our industry not want to retain a client, not want to do the best job?
Well, you said Wolf of Wall Street as well. So there's a highly sort of paid, throw money at the wall sales tour. We don't pay them anything. That is another preconception, that we actually don't pay them anything, and if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And they don't realise how well the staff are paid with incentives, well-being
But I can get
policies,
someone to do it for £10 an hour at a time. So why would I pay extra?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we won't go into a full sales break. But that is the mentality. Or I've had it done. I had it done for half that price. It was really cheap. Did it work? How many leads did you get?
Why are you on the phone to me?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't work. That's why.
It doesn't make sense. So
I want to pay less next time.
Yeah, right. Let's wrap it up. So, in summary, what do you think? What do you think we should be doing as an industry to educate people?
Getting out there, going to the conferences, talking to people, introducing ourselves as a brand. By ourselves, I don't just mean the 3 of us. I mean everything in here. So ethos and culture. If we can get, there's a thing, isn't there? If it ain't on digital, it didn't even happen. I think our public-facing digital footprint should be exposed, because we do all the hard work, people don't know about it. If you do all the hard work, really, we just need to put it on the wrapper of the industry. And I think there's a great space here to become leaders and at the forefront and create a brand that says it's not all these other preconceptions. We're just normal, good people fired by technology and an extension of people's sales team. Just throw it out there.
What do you think?
I think similar. I think it is about that education, and it's about being able to expose as many people to that as often as possible, keeping it consistent, and then also backing it up with what we do. And I think that's the key piece. And then getting those people who that point in that process has been proven to then go and sing that to other opportunities as well. And that's not just for us as Air, but as an industry, because it doesn't just affect us as a business, it affects our competitors. And as much as I obviously want to see us succeed more highly than them, I work within this industry. I want to see the industry succeed, not just Air.
And actually, the industry collaborating will help us all. And I think that's one of the biggest failings, is that we don't talk to each other, we don't work with each other. And as an industry, we're too quick to allow people to come in. It's low point of entry. It's easy to have a phone and a computer and be a telesales company. And we have a responsibility to educate each other and bring each other on that journey, so that we can make the industry a stronger industry right across the board. Gents, it's been a pleasure chatting today. It was good fun. Hopefully we made some sense, and we look forward to talking again soon.